but I want to get in. There was news that broke today, Frankie, and that news was, hey, Adam Schefter joined the Fan on their radio show, as he does a lot, and they asked him, hey, what player was almost traded? He said nobody. Nobody was almost traded for the Broncos. No one came close to the asking price. And they were like, okay, so what was offered for Jeudy? And he said straight up, a third and a fifth round pick. To me, that felt like a fair trade. But Frankie, what do you say? Are you happy the Broncos didn't make that trade? Or are you kind of like, damn, they should have done that?
Yeah. So I'm of the mindset that, like, I think that is a pretty fair price, but I'm also of the mindset that I'm not upset they didn't move him. I've kind of said to you, I don't think that his price will necessarily drop too much after the season. We'll see about that, but I'm kind of a big believer in the second half of what Jerry Jeudy and Marvin Mims can kind of bring to the table. I like what we're seeing out of the cohesion from the locker room. You're talking about how excited everyone was for the Chiefs game. They just went 2-1 coming out of a 10-day break. And I know, I know that like fans and analysts can look at it from the mindset of like, oh, like, well, are they really contending? Was this really a turning point? Like, for the coaches and the players, this was a turning point, like that is the mindset they have. They won 2 big games and they won them pretty handedly, to be honest. Like, I think this is the kind of them telling themselves that they can do this. I think them moving a piece like Jeudy after all the kind of hubbub that's kind of been going on throughout the season, especially surrounding him and the receiver room in general. Like, I think that's kind of a move that kind of would signal to the locker room that there isn't really much hope for this year, when we'll kind of talk about more next week, little teaser, when we kind of do a little bit of a checking out the rest of the season. I think that this team kind of believes they can make the playoffs. And I don't think, when you look at kind of the AFC wildcard race right now, I don't think they're too crazy to do so. So what were your thoughts on them kind of turning down the move?
Frankie, I think they should have, man. If it was actually a third and fifth, I'm doing it. I really am. And here's a point I want to bring to you, and I kind of want to get your opinion on this. The Broncos were open to trading a wide receiver this offseason. And how do I know that? Because they were out there trying to attain one via free agency. I know they offered a higher paid contract to an Allen Lazard. I know that they were out there trying to get Adam Thielen. These are both been reported by prominent reporters in the NFL, whether it be Adam Schefter or Jordan Schultz. These guys know what they're talking about. And so what has changed from now to then? Is Jeudy that much better or more productive than he was going into the season? Why am I stopping that trade from happening now? I know they were about to trade one. What's the big difference? Is it just because we won a Kansas City game? And because if that's it, hey, like, I get it. You want to push hard for the playoffs, but one game shouldn't change your entire scope of what is going on here as a roster. And I've been hearing these rumors from Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy for so long that it's like, what am I doing sitting on my hands now? That's just kind of the way I feel. I'm not changing my scope after one game. I'm just not.
That's fair. But I also think that this isn't them changing. Like, we've heard the same thing from them now for like 9 months. Teams haven't met their asking price. And as much as that we can disagree with that, like, that's just kind of the way it is. I don't think it's them sitting on their hands. I think it's them continuing to say, we believe in the talent that is Jerry Jeudy. And I mean, something that I'd say is, do you think that this is the best offense that Jerry Jeudy has gotten to be a part of since he's been in Denver?
Yes. I think the Teddy Bridgewater offense was fair to him as well. I really do. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback, specifically for a Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver.
No, that's a good point. I'd say this is arguably the best or second best offense then. And I think something that we'll kind of talk about later when we get into more of our film notes, I've enjoyed a lot more of the usage we've seen out of Jeudy. He already did have to miss a week of the season, even though it was just a week. Like, I am a believer in the second half Jerry Jeudy. We're seeing this offense kind of come alive more and more. As I was telling you before the tour, Jerry Jeudy, as this isn't going to sound like a crazy big stat, 5 of his 7 games, he has 50 yards, and a lot of those have come in recent weeks. Like, last week, he already had 60 yards and a touchdown. There was a missed wide open slant on the glance route that they ran on the RPO. Like, I think that we could see a big second half explosion out of Jerry Jeudy and then end up kind of recouping some of that value. And again, I also think when we talk about the buyers in the NFL right now, I just don't think there's many teams that are really offering that are kind of raising the price on him. Whereas I think in the offseason, when more teams have the cap space to kind of make a move like this, when more teams are kind of trying to convince themselves they can win in the next year, I think there might be more people interested in a Jerry Jeudy, and that could even drive up his price more too. But I also do kind of see your side where why would you not move a guy if you're already thinking you're going to move him anyways?
Yeah, and Samuel Castro kind of brings that up here, and I'll just throw his question. He says, do you guys think by not trading Jeudy, the Broncos are maybe rising his stock by getting his stats up than probably trading him in the offseason? And the way I'm going to frame his question to you, Frankie, is there a chance that they get more than a 30-5
I think so.
next offseason? You do?
Yeah. Receiver value in the NFL right now, dude, is crazy. Like receiver value is so nuts. I think as we get close, like on draft night, we could see end up a trade happening when teams kind of look at their board and see that there isn't maybe a guy they like. I think it's totally possible, dude. We could see a big second half explosion out of Jerry Jeudy where he has 700 yards and 5 TDs. And I know that's kind of like, hypothetical, but like, I really do believe that's in the realm of possibility with what we've seen out of him in the past couple weeks. And then I think we're having kind of an entirely different conversation. And I also think it's kind of one of those things where I think it kind of benefits the team to have him there more than it kind of hurts them to get rid of them. And I do think, again, we're talking about some of these young guys like Marvin Mims and Brandon Johnson and how we'd like to see them more. I think right now we're kind of seeing maybe those guys aren't necessarily super ready to step into these bigger roles that Sean Payton might want them to kind of be ready for next season. And it's better just to have a guy like Jerry Jeudy to kind of be that placeholder for the offense to kind of keep developing and kind of keep having the young guys that are within it having competency around him and being able to develop.
Okay, well, I think that's fair, but here's my thing, and it's just that it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, if I'm under the belief that Jerry Jeudy was made available this offseason, and I think there's plenty of reason to think he was, as I laid out earlier, I'm pretty confident that they would have taken a 3-5 this offseason. If they're out there trying to sign other players, they probably do that. If they're out there saying, hey, what's Adam Thielen's price? That means that, we're trying to replace somebody in this offense. People are mad about Marvin Mims' production right now. What do we think? So Adam Thielen comes in. He would not be seeing a lot of snaps either if you keep Jerry Jeudy on the roster. I think that I don't think that it was offered this offseason, and I don't think he's done much to improve his stock this season. That is the main worry here, along with injuries. And what do we know about Jerry Jeudy? He's been hurt quite frequently. Nothing serious, but things where it's like, okay, he's out for 3 weeks. He's out for 4 weeks. He's out for 5 weeks. And that's been since his rookie season. I think there's more to lose. Is it possible that the Broncos do get more this offseason? Yes. I've been super excited about the way he's being used in this offense. Going back to this offseason, you're going to see 1,000 tweets from JR Drafts on Twitter about, I am so excited to see Jerry Jeudy in Sean Payton's offense. But I think there is a higher percentage of the price going down this offseason than it is up, and that's what scares me. It feels like it's all for a wild card push, and while I love that, I just don't even know the possibility of them getting there. I still think it's below 50% that the Broncos get into a wild card spot. And for me, it feels like that's the main reason why he's still on the team today.
Yeah. I mean, I see it differently completely about like him losing his price versus him being able to increase it. And then I'd also say we can't say for certain that they would have taken a 3-5 this offseason, because I also don't think they would have. I think they said pretty blatantly what they thought their price was this offseason. I think we heard reports of what the Giants were offering, and I think it was more than a 3-5. Like, I think they've just firmly said what they want their price to be, and they're just kind of waiting for it. I don't think it's really a thing where they're just like, we're willing to give up Jerry Jeudy, because I don't think that they're just like giving up on him. I don't think there's the guy they're trying to rush out the door for whatever they can get for him. And again, this isn't a guy that is about to be out the door. I think that they're kind of okay to kind of stand pat here.
Fair. Well, hey man, we'll agree to disagree here. I just want to end it off by saying it's not the end of the world. I still think the Broncos are going to get, I'm not trying to make up in arms pissed off. I'm not trying to be negative Nancy over here. I don't think it's the worst decision ever. I'm just letting you guys know what my little sense on it is. And obviously Frankie disagrees with me. So there's multiple avenues of thinking here.